Hi everyone, welcome to my channel Bhagyashree Tech. Hope all of you good and healthy. So I am back from the long time because I am having a light suffering from some fever not well. So that's why I was not updated the video. And today I am sharing the interview question and answer for the Hexaware Technology. Okay, so there is like 3 rounds, and this role was like cloud native .NET Fullstack developer. This is not for the fresher level, this is for the experience level position. From senior software to system analyst, architect level type designation. And there is a total 3 rounds. All are technical. First round online assessment, 2 technical round, 1 HR round. And before the offer letter release, they will do the all the document verification from background, every company you work, PF, everything, like from the scratch to end level till current company, whatever you work. Okay, so I will start whatever the question I recalling, and I made a list. I'm sharing you all of you. Okay, so first question, see, this is related in the SQL department, SQL question. They given the question like we have to be create a table, insert row into it, and then perform a rollback. Like they are given the two table, create table A, insert file record, create table B, insert file record, and after that you have to be perform the rollback action. After performing the rollback action, what will be the output for this process? You have to give the quick answer and have to be right as well as. And for the Hexaware technology, they are providing a link. From that link you have to be joined. There is some glider extension you have to be added, and whatever you are writing, that will be written in their platform, and they will be according that given the scenario, question, everything from their link. And one of the there is a notepad type and environment where you can execute the code in the SQL or C# whatever the language you prefer. So yeah, for this SQL I created the table, performed this operation, and given the output and provided like there will be 0. First they are telling like what will be the approaches and what will be the output. If you are giving the right or wrong, then they will ask like create the same thing in the text pad area. So I create table this employee, insert 5 values. Similarly for other table also. And if we do the rollback, we don't have to be insert, we not have any inserted value into this table because it undoes the operation done in the transaction. Second question, we have custom middleware for multiple requests. You want to create custom middleware and that handle the multiple requests, and this sounds like you are trying to prevent race condition or excessive load. They ask like if we have a multiple concurrent request, how you prevent them. So I given the answer like I will provide the circuit breaker pattern for the current scenario, and I created one diagram also architecture level, and basis on that diagram I provided like this circuit breaker will be helping and writing the 3 lines of code over there. So for handling the multiple requests in custom middleware, you can limit the concurrent requests using the queue or semaphore pattern, and this is the code for that. And third question they ask, there is a 3 method, first method, second method, third method, method A, B, C, and we have to be guarantee if any one of the method like from 1 to 2 fail, but every time 100% we have to be sure this third method would be always to run. in any scenario, if first is failed, not problem, second is failed, not problem, both is working, not problem, one is working, not problem, but at the end my third should be always run. So what do you to do in which scenario, or how do you perform this operation at the end? So we can, I mentioned like we can use the try catch mechanism. If that exception we capture, then we call this second or third. Then he told no, we can ignore this one or two if there's failing, but we need ensure that third method always be done. So I mentioned after try catch we have a finally block. In the finally block, our third method always be executed. So this finally block will be the right answer. And next question they ask method overloading. And in the method overloading, allow you to create a multiple method with the same name but different parameter. And they mention like we have to be first time integer a, integer b, then double a, double b, then we have a decimal a, decimal b, like that. So in terms of every time we are defining the data types, what will be the right way? So we can pass as a one method with parameter, so it should work for all these data type. I mentioned we can use this generate, so that will be work. Next they ask like repository pattern, what is the types of pattern you are work, and if you mention couple of them or whatever you mention, you can mention, and they will pick up one of the pattern and ask what is the use and why we are using that, what is the cons, what is the pros and cons, everything. I mentioned like I work on the singleton, factory, abstract factory, packet pattern, and adapter pattern, repository pattern, and in that extension of the unit of work. Then he capture repository pattern explain, and what is the unit of work working, what is the addition of that unit of work in the repository pattern. There is a one thin line similarity and difference mentioned there. So we have to be mentioned like repository pattern is used to abstract the data layer and provide a clean API for accessing the data, making your application more maintainable and testable. Advantage is that encapsulate the data access logic, promote the testability as you can mock the repository, separate the business logic from the data access code. And unit of work pattern is like pattern where multiple operations are handled in single transaction. So this is a very important line. We have to be handle this single transaction for the multiple operation, ensuring that either all changes succeeded or failed. Advantage is that handle the transaction management, reduce the number of calls to the database by managing the multiple repository interactions. Next, they ask like implement one method in interface. If an interface has two methods and you want to implement only one, you can use the default interface method in the C Sharp 8.0 plus. And before that, how you implement, you have to be use the some approaches over there. I mentioned like because we are using the interfaces, so we interface means it is a contract. If we define there is a two method and we are implementing only one method, and this will give the compile error because it is not allowed to like you are declaring two and implementing or providing the business logic into one method and one is not. So resolve this problem, we have to be another approach. They mention if it is working why, if it not working why, if not then what is the approaches you have to be create. So this approach or this logic should be work. So we have created the example. See, public interface are example 1, method 1, method 2, and implemented, and there is a third default method. And in my class I inherited my example interfaces, implement method 1, and for the method 2 I not implemented. So for that you can use a stack property. abstract class where you want to implement one method not. You can create one method is abstract, one non-abstract method, or one is override a virtual method like that. And in the derived classes, you can implement whatever you want. So this is the approaches. Next question they ask, if we have a same get and post, can we do the insert operation using the get or post? So yeah, we can. You have to give the answer. Yes, you can have the same logic for both get and post for insert operation in some cases, but semantically it is a better to use get for the retrieving data, post for inserting data, because if you are implementing via the REST API architecture pattern, it have the syntax or protocol we have to be follow. So that's why we are using the get for retrieving the data, post for the inserting data, because item-potent insert would be rare. You could theoretically handle the both method with similar logic. It is not recommended from the RESTful API design perspective. Okay, then they ask like what is the validation mechanism or how you authenticate your application or site. I mentioned I am using the Azure Active Directory, JWT bearer token, OAuth or identity. Then they ask like okay, go for the bearer token and what is the process for that. So we are doing like normally using credential id and password. After it is validating, we are getting that token, and from that token we are allowing the access role over there. So for this process he asked what is the method, like acronym as I will say, get or post we use for the get the bearer token. I mentioned I use the post because it is a content type we are using. Because this send this token in authorization header as a bearer token for the subsequent API call. That's why post will be a right acronym to get the bearer token. Okay. Then next question we have about the static constructor. He asked like we have a static constructor initialize the static member of a class. It is called once when the class is first accessed. Give the example. So you have to be create one or two line of code. Then we have like firstly they ask like types of constructor. If you mention, you have to give the example what is the private constructor, what is the static constructor, what is the copy constructor, and what is the public constructor, and whatever we constructor you using. From that whatever the constructor we are using, there is have some default constructor, how they are accessing members, object, like in the detail he was asking. And after that he mentioned like give the example using private constructor one design pattern. I created a singleton design pattern with the help of private constructor, and also I use the sealed keyword because we don't want to be inherit my singleton class object or property or method to another classes. Okay, one more question. They ask if you can give the answer in the comment, that will be better. I will comment it down after your comment. What will the right answer? If there is a multiple constructor like static constructor, private constructor, public constructor, so which type of constructor we can pass the parameter and on which we can't, and why? Reason also we have to be mentioned. Okay. So this is the question they ask additionally, and I am asking same thing to you all. Please comment it down whatever the answer you thinking, and I will also provide the answer from in your comment. Next we question have can static constructor be called first? Yes, static constructor are executed when the class is accessed from the first time, not explicitly called, I will say. Then next question he asked about, for the example, we have a two classes, classes A, classes B, both having a same name in the same assembly, like two files with the same name in same assembly. Is that work? I mentioned no. You cannot have the two classes with the same name in the same assembly because it will cause the conflict at compile time. Then he mentioned, can we do? Yes, we can do, but that should have a different assembly or different structure, I will say. Then you can create the same name file. Then he jumped onto the Azure side, mentioned like multiple services, how many services you are used, whatever the advantage, how will improve using the Azure services from your application, what is the integrated mechanism, how you migrated your on-premises SQL Server data to Azure SQL Server, what is the virtual machine, what is the size of that, or how to create a ID and password for the virtual machine, and how you deployed your code over there in the virtual machine. Like this is the practical question he asked. If you are implemented, you are good to give the answer. If you not, you get stuck over there. So I'm already working on this, and I already did the Microsoft certification, and daily to daily I do this Azure DevOps thing. So I was very happy to give the answer. He was happy with my answer. And in that one question, one architecture type image he mentioned in the link, and ask like, what is a dead letter queue in Azure Service Bus. First of all, we have to know what is the Azure Service Bus, and in that, what is the role of the DLQ. So a DL, you have idea about the Azure Service Bus. So if you know about that, then you know DLQ. A DLQ is used to store the messages that can't be processed, and you implement DLQ in Azure Service Bus by enabling the dead letter feature on a queue or subscription basis. And for that, we have to write one sample line of code like where dead letter queue equal to client get queue, my queue, and dead letter queue name. Next, he also mentioned one of the indexing things. He asked like, indexing. Then first to give the difference between the SQL procedure and user defined function, and what the difference over there, what is the advantage of that. Then yeah, then I mentioned multiple things over there. Then he asked about what is the indexing, types of indexing, what is the cluster index, what is the non-cluster index, can we apply the multiple indexing over there? If yes, why? If no, why? Like that. And he mentioned two procedure name, given this query inside that, and asking like in which column or which line of this we have applied the indexing over there. Okay. So indexing work best for the exact matches. If you are filtering using like, then he asked like, select first name last name from the employee, where first name uh, uppercase XYZ like that. Then he mentioned, can indexing will work here? I mentioned no, because indexing is working only for the column, not for the specification like you are doing the uppercase, lowercase like that. So it will not work over there. It, because it not be used as a effectively. So you can use a computed column for the uppercase version and index that. You can also test it out before and after applying the uppercase and indexing for the particular column in a table. And last question he asked about how you, if you work on the entity framework code, then he asked, then what is the advantage, what is the disadvantage, have you worked on the Fluent API or Fluent validation. Okay, then in that also we have to do the optimization. So he mentioned like what is the process optimization technique in the SQL Server code, procedure code, and what is the difference between when we are doing SQL procedure same coding in the entity framework code, what is the optimization technique over there. Give some example. So please be prepared for this question and give the some practical code over there, then he will be happy, otherwise not. So this will, I will say, is a high level question what I got, I mentioned here. There is a other another round also after this. I will say the normal, this is a like basic round. After that there's a two more round. If you want, please comment it down in the video and like, share, subscribe. Then I will share in part 2 for this interview session. Till then, bye, happy learning, happy coding, and meet you in the next video. Thank you all of you.